What's up, and welcome to this week's Hacking Your Hormones for Weight Loss Q&A. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Phyllis Thompson, your favorite hormone hacking coach for weight loss. In every single one of my lives, you'll walk away with at least one tip that you can implement right away to start shrinking that waist, feeling better, getting rid of pesky symptoms like hot flashes, night sweats, brain fog, and anything that makes you feel like you're not quite yourself and aging for longevity. So let's get into it. This week, we got 3 questions. Let me go to that screen. Let me close all these little things out so that it doesn't slow down our signal. Now, our first question is from Klein, and she says, I have PCOS and I take levothyroxine. I have decreased and cleaned up my diet, but little results with weight loss. What else can I do? My energy is low. Please help. So there are several things at play here, right? So with the PCOS, you're going to want to keep your blood sugar balanced, right? That's going to play a huge role there. But then you also have the variable of having a thyroid condition. That's what the levothyroxine is for. So it's designed to help your thyroid produce T4, which is a thyroid hormone. But what we don't know is if the T4 is being converted to the active thyroid hormone T3. So that's where working with us will help us find out what's happening there. Is there a disconnect in that conversion, right? And then if it is or isn't, is that active T3 getting into the cells, right? And that's going to play a huge part in your energy. So the only thing I can really tell you at this point without knowing those little variables that I just mentioned is to keep your blood sugar balanced, right? Making sure that you're keeping your stress levels in check. So if you want to reach out, I can go over get some more insight from you, ask you a few questions, kind of see where you are, and that'll give me a really good idea of what's happening in the conversion between the production of the thyroid hormone and the conversion of T3, and if it's getting into the cells and addressing it that way. Often there, again, with thyroid conditions, there's so many variables, right? Especially when now you have the blood sugar issue with the PCOS. So the most important thing would be to eat balanced, right? Keeping that blood sugar balanced, reducing consumption of processed foods, and that's going to help a lot. But with the thyroid condition, there's so many variables, right? So one of my clients, Dee, who actually graduated the program, also had hypothyroidism. Right. And we were able to make some nutritional changes for her based on how she was presenting, because it really does. I'm telling you, it really does matter how you're presenting. And without working with you, we don't really know. I can ask you some questions and give you some pointers, but getting into the week to week and how your body's responding to the changes we make is what's going to tell us a lot. But Dee lost over 30 pounds. And she also has a thyroid condition, hypothyroidism actually, and got her energy back. One of the biggest things for her was that she got her energy back, and that is directly related to the thyroid condition. So shoot me a message and we'll dig into some details about what's happening with you and see if we can't come up with a plan for you. And then we have Rhonda, who just put eating in the questionnaire. So I'm assuming you mean how to eat for your hormones. Again, it really depends on how you're presenting. So without having more context, the only thing I can say is a balanced diet, right? Getting rid of the processed foods, making sure your stress is managed. But if you take our hormone quiz, it'll give me a really good insight into what kind of symptoms you're presenting with, which will tell us what hormones may be out of whack, right? Are you estrogen dominant? We really don't know, right? Without talking to you and getting some more details. Are you producing enough progesterone to balance out that estrogen, right? Or is it stress related? So there's so many variables with that, but I would say first and foremost, take out the processed foods, eat a balanced diet, and reach out to us so you can take our hormone quiz, and that'll give us some really good insight into what is going on specifically with you. And then our other question is from Shimona. Shimona says, how to lose weight when working out and fasting like I always have? Well, first and foremost, if you are no longer seeing results with what you are doing, your body is telling you this doesn't work for us anymore, right? And that's what happens when we get to, I don't even like to say when we're over 40 anymore, because some women as early as 35, and sometimes earlier than that, if there's a thyroid condition at play, will start to have trouble losing weight because the hormones are out of balance, right? So it could be a stress response. Fasting can create a stress response in your body. So what we used to do when we were in our 20s will not work for us anymore as we get older, because our hormones are different. But fasting used to work for you because your hormones were balanced then, right? So this is telling me you have a hormone condition happening, and your body is letting you know this doesn't work for us anymore. Again, fasting can cause a stress response in the body, and it can make some of the symptoms worse. And then also what it can do is it can inhibit you from getting the nutrients you need. Often hormonal issues is linked to partially nutrient deficiencies. So that's one of the first things we do with our clients is help them start filling those nutritional gaps, right? The soil in our world, sadly, is not as rich, I can't talk, as it used to be, right? It's been plowed and farmed and over again, and toxins from the environment, all sorts of tomfoolery has depleted the nutrients in our soil. So it's important to make sure that we're getting more nutrient dense food and an abundance of them, right? Eating organic when you can is going to help because we want to get unnecessary toxins out, right? So one of the things that we won't know unless you're actually working with us, so we could dig into what's happening with you week to week, is if it's a toxin response that your body is having, which can contribute to estrogen dominance. And toxins are in everything, right? Especially our food. So eating organic when you can. If you go to the Environmental Working Group's website, it's ewg.org, and look up the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen. That will let you know what produce in the, I think it's US, I don't think it's global, but it'll tell you on there, are the most heavily sprayed that you should always buy organic, and they update it every year. And then the Clean 15 are the vegetables, the produce that you don't necessarily have to buy organic. Also, if the produce has a thick skin, it's not necessary to buy organic either. So that'll help there, right? Fasting, again, I get on my soapbox about that because it can be effective for specific reasons, right? At specific times at this stage of life, right? When our hormones are up and down or all over the place. But as a lifestyle, it's not always sustainable when you get to this stage, and your body is letting you know this isn't going to work for us. So eating a balanced nutrition, right? 3 meals a day, 1 to 2 snacks. After several weeks that you cleaned up your nutrition and you're eating majority whole foods, whole clean foods, and not processed foods. If you still find that you're eating snacks, that means you're not eating enough nutrient dense foods in your meals. Let me check your question just to make sure I answered everything. I just kind of want to, I don't want to get on the fasting soapbox too much, because there's going to be a whole host of women that's going to be like, that's not true. Fasting works for me. Look at this research over here. Look at that research over there. Okay, true for some of us, but her body is literally telling her this doesn't work for us. And that is the case with a lot of women. And they keep trying to do it because it's a quick fix. And that's my opinion of it. It's a quick fix, right? And that's okay if that's what you need at some point, but it's not sustainable long-term for your body. Balance is going to be the best thing. So, and it could be a stress response happening. So you're further stressing on your body, right? And what's happening, and what I think might be happening without me actually having more insight, more context, right? Without having worked with you and being able to see how your body presents week to week, which will tell me more about what could possibly be at play. I think you've thrown off your cortisol rhythm, right? So cortisol runs throughout our body in a rhythm all day long. But if you're fasting and if it is creating a stress response in your body, your cortisol is higher when it should be lower. And what cortisol does, oh man, whew, there's so many things I want to say right here because there's so many things that could be happening. And again, I won't know without working with you. Cortisol could be taking your progesterone, right? Which is going to make you estrogen dominant, right? Which contributes to belly fat. It presents as belly fat. Or cortisol could be, and it is doing this if it is a cortisol response, it is metabolizing, right? It's recruiting all the glycogen, which is stored glucose in your muscles. It's recruiting it all, converting it to glucose, which is sugar in the blood, and it is mobilizing it because your body thinks that you need to run from a predator because it's a stress response. And what happens when you don't actually use that sugar to run from the predator, your body will take that sugar and deposit it into your fat cells as fat, right? So it's going to make it even harder to lose weight. And that's one of the things that could be happening. So reach out to me, shoot me a message. I'll have you take my hormone quiz. That'll give me some insight into what's happening with you so we can come up with a structured plan for you. But I mean, there again, so many variables, and it really is hard to tell. But if it is a stress response, I've talked about Shanae before. Her body was overly stressed, and because we were able to see that as we were working with her, right? She came for weight loss, right? She just thought, I just want to lose weight. Tell me what to eat and how to work out. But things pop up as we're working with you that tells us a lot more. And that's where the customization comes into play. So we made those changes for her because her body was stressed and she dropped over 30 pounds, right? So it really is how you present. There's so many variables. There could be so many things at play. And without having the details, I'm just giving you basic guidance, right? So balanced nutrition, 3 meals, 2 snacks. Eventually you want to not be eating the snacks so that your meal should be satisfying you enough that you don't need snacks, especially if you're drinking enough water, right? Keeping your stress levels low, and say goodbye to fasting because your body is telling you, we don't like that. So get rid of it. It works for some people. Your body is already telling you that it ain't gonna work for you. Everybody's different, right? And that's what's so great about what we do here, because we get to see that and make the changes for your unique body that will help you lose weight. It seriously, weight loss is not as simple as calories in and calories out for the majority of us, especially if there's a hormone component. So that's where the customization is so crucial to you seeing success. But reach out to me. We'll get you the hormone quiz. We'll go from there. And then the same thing for Rhonda, because that's going to tell us a lot. If it's estrogen, progesterone, or something else happening in there, it could be a thyroid, right? A lot of women in these perimenopause and menopause years don't even know they have a thyroid condition, and that's what's keeping them from losing weight. So that's how working with, and even if it's not us, working with a trained hormone coach, right? So that they know what to look for. Because I'm telling you, just simply eating clean doesn't always work for a lot of people. Almost all the women that we work with come to me like, I'm eating clean. I'm doing all the things. I'm working out. I don't eat half the crap that my friends eat, and nothing's happening. And then we make the changes that their bodies are telling them they need to happen, but they don't know how to interpret it, and they start dropping. So really, it's how you're presenting it. I'm going to keep saying that over and over again, because I see so often where people will pull meal plans from here, workouts from YouTube, and they're doing all these things, and then they start doing 2-a-day workouts, and they're like, what's happening? I'm killing myself, and nothing's happening because your body is telling you something that you can't interpret. And then for Klein, blood sugar balance, eating balanced meals, but finding out, getting more details about your thyroid condition is going to be crucial. So I recommend also reaching out to me so I can ask you more questions, get some more insight, more context, and be able to help you with that. But that energy is directly related to that thyroid. So I think that's it. I am headed back to the hospital. Most of you know that my husband is in the hospital. But I make time. I make time now that he's stable, obviously, right? Like, some things are obvious. If he's in distress and in surgery, then I'm obviously going to be by his side. But when he's not, when he's stable, when he has his team there, his nurses and everything, I make sure my clients are taken care of. I make sure I'm taken care of. Because if I'm not, I can't pour into him and be there for him and take care of him, right? Because he really does rely on me more than he does his nurses. And I can't make sure that I'm sticking around for him and I'm healthy, because this is one of the most stressful things that I've ever experienced in my entire life. And I've gained 15 pounds since his diagnosis in October, and it's slowly coming off, but that's because I make time to take care of the stress, to make sure I can eat as best as possible, that I can come home and make food to take with me so that I'm eating as well and as nutrient dense as possible so that my body is healthy. So I am there for him. And that's why when people are like, oh, I don't have time, my schedule, blah, blah. When you say this to me, especially after experiencing this in my life, it's like Charlie Brown's teacher to me, because it sounds like excuse, want, want. You're giving yourself a free pass. It's an excuse, and it's comfortable, right? It happens. You may not know how to put yourself on your schedule. And that's kind of what we do. It's one of the things we do with other people, right? But I don't have time. Oh, man. In my opinion, and I'm giving tough love right now, because especially witnessing what I've witnessed in the last almost year, right? And going through it and still finding the time, putting myself on my calendar, because my health is important to me, right? I don't have time is giving yourself a pass because you don't want to put the effort and the energy into making yourself a priority, or you don't see it as making yourself a priority, right? But in fact, you show up better for the people you love when you make time to take care of time. I can't talk. When you make time to take care of yourself. So that whole, like, seriously, I'm going to say this and it's not going to land as nice as people might want it to land, but when are you going to get tired of your own bullshit, right? Not having time is an excuse because there are things you can do. We spend a lot of money on lots of BS, right? Take some of that takeout money and hire somebody to do your grocery shopping. Hire somebody to do your laundry. Hire somebody to clean your home so you can take 30 minutes to work out and de-stress your body. So you can take 40 minutes to meal prep, right? So you can do the things you need for yourself so you are around for your family, right? I'm gonna get off that soapbox because I can go on and on about that. But anyway, the kids outside are screaming, making a lot of noise in the neighborhood. So I'm gonna go. That's all I got for you this week. Until next time, next week, same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, ciao.